Alright, so in this video what we're going to do is review some of the basic concepts of computer storage and then take a look at some mathematical applications. So this is really the real true computer programming, and when you do that, let's go into the underground and I'll show you how you work with it. So when you write a real computer program, you're going to tell the world the kind of variables you're going to work with. So if you were going to work with just a simple number like your age, you would say the special word, integer age. The next thing you would do is, let's say you were going to work with money. Money has decimals, so you would say double profit, let's say. And the other kind of variable you can have is a word. So you say string your name. Alright, so that's usually the first step when you do a computer program. You declare your variables. The next thing you do when you write a computer program is you assign your variables. So you give them values. Okay, so these are called assignment statements. And so let's say that age, you can put down 15, and profit, we could put down $120.75. Don't put the dollar signs on it though. And your name, you can put down in quotes, Mary. Okay, so that's called assignment statements. The last thing you do when you write a basic computer program is you usually use some sort of formula, if there is a formula, and then you print out the answer. So this last part is the output, and we're just going to do one of them, but there's this word called message box.show, and then you can do like two parts here. Like for instance, your age is, and then you're going to attach it, so use that little plus sign, and then age. But age is a number, so you have to say to string. Okay, and that's a basic program from beginning to end. Now you notice that these two say, hey, these were never used. It's not a mistake. I just didn't do it in the program. Okay, if it was in red, it'd be like a mistake. Alright, let's save this for a second. And we'll give it a run. Okay, so basic concept, your age is 15, there it is. Alright, so that's a basic computer program. Now, what if this button wants to know about your profit or that girl's name? So you would think you might be able to say, well, sir, all I got to do is say message box.show your profit is plus, and then profit dot to string. Alright, so it seems like it would make sense. Okay, and we'll give it a run, and we'll see what happens. Nope, mistake. And when you usually get a mistake, say no, you don't want to run it. And it says the variable profit is assigned, but the value is never used. Okay, so that's just a warning. Your name is assigned but never used. That's the warning. But here's something in red, so that's bad. The name profit does not exist in the current context. What that means is basically, these are like two buildings. This building has some people that it knows about, and numbers and everything else. This other building, it doesn't know about those people. So you're saying, hey, you know my buddy Profit? Can you print it out? I don't know anybody Profit. Right, so when you declare these variables, these are called local variables. Alright, they're only known in that little building, that little section there from this squiggly line to here. If you want the whole street, so to speak, to know about it, like you want this guy to know about it, and this button, and this button, and whoever else, then you have to declare your variables slightly different. And these are called then public variables or global variables. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take all of these, and I'm going to cut them out. And watch where I'm going to put them. I'm going to put them right on the street here. I didn't put them inside of here. I didn't put them way up here. I just put them out here. Now, they're basically global variables. So watch what happens. Now you have to press the first button to make everybody know about your friends. So you press this button first. Then you press this. Okay, and it knows about your profit. Now, this is interesting. It knows about your profit, but it didn't write it down as money. So one more thing before I finish this introductory section. What you can do when you print out money, you can go in here and you can say quote C quote, and that's currency, which is kind of cool. Let's try it again. Alright, so you press this first to activate all the variables, and then press this one, and there it is with a dollar sign. Alright, now we're going to take a look at a practical application of this concept of computer storage, and we're going to look at some math problems. Not hard ones, but basic ones that you'd want to use in C#. So here's a sample application that I've already set up for you. We looked at it in class. It's called savings. Alright, and basically it's a couple of text boxes where you're going to type in some information. This last one's going to give you an answer. Okay, these are some labels and then of course some buttons. So remember, whenever you make a computer program, you have to make sure you name these with good names. So that first one's called text deposit, right there. This one here is called text, I'm assuming weeks, right? And this last one where the answer is going to go is called text total. So basically what a person's going to do, and I'll show you how it runs, a person is going to type in how much they're going to put in the bank every week. Let's say I put in 40 bucks, and I put it in for 20 weeks. And then when I press this, those two times together give you $800 in the bank, which would be pretty good. And then this obviously closes the program. Let's take a look at the underground. Now, as you saw in the last example, I basically want, and it's a good way to do it, I want the entire world to know about all my variables. So you say to yourself, what am I going to ask the person, and what is it going to get printed out? So you're going to ask the person how much they want to put in the bank. Okay, and then I guess they could have put in decimals, but I stuck with integers in this one. How many weeks are they going to put it in? So that one actually should be whole numbers, and then the total. And again, you could have used doubles on here. I just used integers as an example. Now when I press this button, the computer has to grab this answer and this answer, times them together, and put it in here. So this is how you do it. So the first thing you do, in a text box, it has quotes on it. So you have to take the quotes off. So this is one of the ways to take the quotes off. Convert to int32. And then you store the answer in here. This takes the quotes off your weeks and puts the answer here. Now, like I said, it's just a simple times question. So you times those two answers together, you put it in there, and then you print it out. Now, is there another way to do this? Sure. I told you guys, and I think I showed you in class, that you can also do this. You can say this thing called int.parse bracket text deposit dot text, and that'll also take the quotes off. And just for fun, I'll show you in sort of super slow motion what's going on behind your back when the computer runs this. Okay, I'm pressing F11, by the way, to go into the underground, and this is what's going on behind your back when you press run. Alright, it's doing all this stuff, and it does it obviously super fast, but you'll see what happens when we pop up into the main program. Okay, so these are all the little things that the computer's putting on the screen, and we're just about ready, and here we go. So I type in 40, I type in 20, and then I press compute. Okay, now again I'm pressing F11 to step through it. So let me hover over this. See what's in there? It's got 40 with quotes on it. So what this is going to do is take the quotes off of 40, and look, it's going to have 40 with no quotes. This is just the same thing, 40 with no quotes again. So here's the next one, 20 with quotes on it. Takes the quotes off, you got 20 naked, so to speak. So now you've got naked 40 and naked 20, because you have to have no quotes on it. You times them together and you get 800. And then you print out the answer, which is $800. Okay, so that's a simple application using stepping to show you what happens. And there's the answer. Okay, the other kind of question you can do with math is where you ask the person using a special input box, which is kind of cool actually. So I'll show you that example, and then we're going to do it together. Okay, so let me just pop this up. Let's go in here, and we'll okay. So sometimes my older programs, you have to do this when you load them up if you're going to try some of these from home, because I wrote them in probably C# 2005, and this is C# 2008. here's how it runs. This is kind of cool. When you press it, this thing pops up. This is called an input box. I'll show you how to make this in a second. So I type in a mark. Not a very good one for that one. Here's mark number 2. I did better on this test. And mark number 3, 68. And my average is that. Okay? So what makes this program different is this new thing called an input box. Okay, so sir, how do you get this input box and where does it come from? Because it's not in one of these controls over here. To get the input box, you have to right-click on References and say Add a Reference. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to steal a command from another computer language called Visual Basic, because C# actually doesn't come with that cool thing called an input box. Now this takes a few seconds. What the computer is doing is going through everything on its hard drive, and then what we have to do is slide down until we get to Microsoft Visual Basic. There's tons of things here, right? Like these are all the things that you can beg, borrow, and steal from other computer languages. So there's Microsoft Visual Basic right there. Alright? And then you press OK. Now, there's all kinds of weird stuff that shows up here. You don't worry about that. Now you go into the program. And I'm just going to do something really quick. So I'm going to say integer mark. So I'm going to ask for a mark. And then follow with me. This is going to get fairly long. You're going to type in mark equals, and now you got to take something from, so you go Microsoft, oh there it is right there, I'm going to click on it, dot, oh this is crazy, Visual Basic, dot, interaction, if we can find it, there it is, dot, we're almost there, this is how you're going to do a lot to take it, input box, finally, alright, bracket, and then it asks for something like enter your mark, comma, and then it asks for a title. I'll put 2 quotes. I don't really want a title. You can put something in there if you want, comma. Default, again, I'll put 2 quotes, comma. Now this is important. Where is it going to appear on the screen? So I'm going to go about 300 over from the left-hand side and about 500 down. 500 what though? Pixels. Okay? And then bracket, semicolon. Now, it's yelling at me for a number of reasons. What's basically going to happen here in a second, see what it says down at the bottom? I think you can see that. Cannot convert string to int. See, when you ask somebody something, it's going to be what's called a string with quotes on it. So what you have to do, this whole thing, is go int dot parse, and that'll convert it. And I got to go all the way over the other side, put another bracket. And that'll convert it into a number. So watch what happens when you run it. Alright, so when I press this, there it is. That's an input box. Isn't that cool? And you type in a mark. Now we didn't do anything with the mark. That would have taken it. Alright, so what I'm going to do now to finish up is show you a practical application. So this would take the mark, and I mean, you could work out the average after by adding it up or something like that. But that's how you get an input box to show up on your screen. Alright, to finish off, what I want to do is go through one of the homework questions that you were assigned. I gave you this sheet here that had lots of mathematical programming problems, and you're going to give a couple days to work on it. Let's take a look at the first one here. You have to write a computer program which works out the volume of something given its length, width, and height. Okay, so pretty basic question. Let me show you how you do it. Alright, so this is the last button on my review video here. So we're going to go into the underground. I've already set it up and written most of it so that you could see it right from the beginning. Okay, so whenever you do a question, in your mind you think, first thing, what are the things that I'm going to have the computer remember? So to do a volume, you need the length, the height, and the width. And you're also going to have to work out an answer. That's called volume. Then you have to do that thing I just showed you. You have to take from Visual Basic the input box. Now look at that. It's a big long thing. It goes all the way over to the right. And basically I just copied and pasted the one I just did with you guys a few seconds ago. The only extra thing is, you know how I did int parse up here? So that it would take the quotes off and put it into a value? If I'm doing doubles, then there's double parse. Works just the same. So that's the 3 things I need from the person. The next stage is you have to do some math. It's always different. It could be a divide, times, whatever. And then obviously the last part is you print out